Hey guys, and welcome back. Alright, hi guys. If you're new here, which you probably are because of this video in particular, my name is Ellen Henry and I am a circus performer and coach, particularly in terms of handstands. They are my favorite thing to teach. So welcome to the place for all thing handstands and circus vlogs, which I particularly love doing, documenting my life. But for today's video, I want to chat about how to start handstanding. If you are a complete beginner, or if you're yogis, or you've come from calisthenics where you've just found out about handstands and you want to improve them and learn more about them and start to be able to get into them. This video is going to be just for you, so stay tuned for this juicy, packed, full of great information on everything that I'm going to tell you about how to start handstanding when you're a beginner. Whoop. Yep, I moved everything. I didn't really, not really. Where to start? You might be asking this yourself, and my recommendation is one of the foundations of handstands is the fact that you are going to be balancing and standing on your hands. So you want to start prepping your wrists and your hands to get used to the fact that you'll be bearing weight on them. So to start getting comfortable with that, things I would recommend trying out is things like froggies. And if you're a yogi and you've come from that background, you'll probably know heaps of things that you can do on your wrists to help you to start get comfortable on your hands. Other things you can do is things like planks and bear crawling and downward dog, just things that start to get your wrists used to that feeling of bearing weight of some of your body. Now, when you're just starting out handstanding, something that you might not realize, especially if you've come from a calisthenics background, is that you need to be working on your flexibility. It is so important that you work on your flexibility because handstands require a fair bit of it, and you can get away with not doing anything, but it'll just make your life so much harder. And working on your flexibility and your mobility will help things like your wrists, your shoulders, and then it will also help other things like your kick up to handstand, which requires a fair bit of hamstring flexibility. Also, beyond just helping your handstand, having good flexibility can also help you to have pretty lines in your handstand. I've got a great video all about that you can check out further along into your handstand journey as well. And it's nice when you can have pretty legs in a handstand and you can post photos of it online and get that wonderful gratification from people being like, how awesome that you've worked on this amazing skill and it looks so pretty. My next component too when you're first starting to handstand is understanding the basics. So number one in our basics is the alignment, or sometimes I also call it stacking. The word stacking comes from the fact that when you're doing a handstand, the bones and the joints will be stacked on top of each other, so that most of the gravity is just going straight down through your body. Compared to if you break that alignment, and then you're going to be required to use a lot more strength to hold up a handstand. So the alignment is really important to make handstanding easier and to focus on that technique rather than just using brute force to hold up your handstand. So a quick little breakdown of the alignment / stacked shape is that your wrists are underneath your elbows and your shoulders, and then your mid-body, you've got your core engaged and your back is flat. Then you come up to your hips, and your hips are on top of your shoulders and in line with your mid-body. This usually comes from an anterior tilt of your pelvis. And then from your hips, you've got your legs, which usually sit on top of your hips, and your toes are nice and pointed. Please point them, it makes your line look so much nicer. Yes, I'm biased and that is just my opinion, so do whatever you like with your toes. Okay, the next key when you're understanding the basics of handstands is the cues. The cues especially for all of the things that I just talked about in your alignment. Later on, I will talk about ways you can go about learning those cues as another point. Third key is learning to kick to handstand. Now, I'm not going to go in depth into all of these things that I talk about, but I have an extensive handstand tutorial library here on YouTube. I will link lots of videos up in the cards when I talk about them. So I have a how to kick to handstand video that is very helpful, and I'll also link videos down below. Learning to kick to handstand is super important because the amount of power that you drive into your handstand will really help depend on how many attempts and how you would go about like not just learning the handstand but then progressing it later on. The fourth key is to how to fall out of a handstand safely. Now I think learning this is so important, and there's a couple different ways that you can come out of a handstand. Unfortunately, I am of the opinion that falling out into a bridge is not the best way to come out of a handstand, and I think there's much better ways that you can fall out. So the cartwheel step out is my personal favorite if you feel yourself falling over, or if you don't have time and you're very used to falling into that bridge position. I would recommend learning to roll out and trying to really train yourself out of falling into a bridge, or even just like stacking it straight onto your back. Like, you guys will probably have common sense. You'll know that falling flat on your back is going to hurt, and you'll probably give yourself injuries. So find a really soft way to come out of handstands to really lessen that impact of coming out of it. And I've got a great video that covers this in depth. So if you're struggling with this in particular or you want to improve it, you can check out. I've been doing the wrong side, I'm sorry. I will pop this video up in the corner for you guys to check out if you want to find out more. If you're enjoying this video and this content, please give it a like because it really helps my channel and I really appreciate your support. The fifth and final basic is gaining strength in your shoulders and your wrists and your arms, which also leads me on to my next point in this video, which is that it's super important to start to build strength in your shoulders and your wrists even before and as you're starting to try handstands, because especially if you have weak wrists or you haven't done a lot of stuff on them before, getting them stronger will help lead to less injuries. So you could work on your wrist, your arm strength, your shoulder, and also a little bit of core strength is also really good for handstands. Don't go too overboard with this, just a little bit is always nice and helpful. One of the most important things when you are learning to handstand is doing specific drills to understand the body shape. This takes me back to what I was talking about earlier with doing drills that help you to start working on those cues. So my best tip when you're doing these is to start with some drills on the ground. I've got a great set of activation drills that you can do on the ground to help you to start to understand those cues. I will link that video up here for you guys. It is so good, and I think this is some of the best stuff that you can do to start to understand that body shape, especially when you're first starting out, because it means you can get a bit of like an awareness around what your body is doing without going upside down and really confusing yourself with trying to understand what's where and what's doing what. Also, to help figure out the body shape and some of the cues that you have to do, a really important one is pushing through your shoulders. Stay tuned for the next video that I release, which I'll go a bit more in depth into that and try and explain it in a way that's hopefully really easy to understand, and go through some drills about like how to practice doing that, because when you're first starting out, it's one of the most important things you can do for your shape, and also so that you like don't injure your shoulders. Now that we've sort of covered all of the components to understand the handstand and things to practice and to work on, I now want to talk about the fact that you need to be practicing frequently. Now, I do not mean diving in straight away and practicing every single day. If you're a beginner, things will take time and you need to slowly progress yourself up. But you really want to aim to be doing handstands frequently so that you're getting that practice in and getting that time upside down. Also, not going full gung-ho will also help you to not get injured really fast and straight away as well. So really just listen to your body and just be safe when it comes to how much you do. Another really important aspect for when you're learning to handstand is the word that I just said is learning. You need to be open to finding information, and you really need to have that growth mindset where you can always improve, and you're searching for like more tutorials, or you're finding solutions to like your problems. One of the most common problems is the banana back handstand when you're first starting out, and I've got a great video covering that up here, so check it out if you need that. But like YouTube, there are so many videos online about how to handstand, how to learn different parts of the handstand, how to progress your handstand, learning how to tricks. So just like scouring the internet, finding those really motivating and helpful educational videos, they are super important to always be watching. And I think another good point is, if you're really serious about wanting to handstand, or you're feeling really lost, is a great idea to get a handstand coach, or even find like local handstand classes near you, because that'll just really help you to like maybe go into a physical class, or find a coach online that can really work with you one-on-one. Now, if you're a fan like me and you like a nice little physical book, or you'd like to take some notes or something about the videos that you're watching, especially when they're this jam-packed with educational and so much good information, sometimes I really like having a digital version or some notes of it. You're in luck. A little while ago I made a beginner handstand ebook. I will leave the link to that down in the description, so you can grab that, you can have a physical copy of it, or if you want to print it out and just have it somewhere so that you've got that physical version of something, and you can write notes on it and about what you're learning. So grab that down below if you're interested. That is it, guys, for this video. I hope you liked it. Please hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos just like this one. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello and welcome. I can't help it. I don't know what to do. Wow. That was just... I have an opinion. Do I have...